As a full-time crypto trader, crypto has been one of the best ways for me to make money. But at the same time, it's been a great place to take a lot of money. And there's been times where the market's just not in a good place to trade. Therefore, many traders are sitting on the side, kind of just waiting for the market to wake up again, where in actual fact, another market is moving. Now, in today's video, I want to speak about Bybit and how they have launched an incredible TradFi section, which now means that not only can I trade crypto in one place, I can now start trading gold, silver, oil, Forex. I can now trade all different types of markets, all from one single place. So I want to show you guys how you can find all these different markets and how do you actually trade and use the platform. This for me is something exciting as it's one dashboard and I can trade any market in the world. And the whole key of being a successful trader is to move where the money is to be made. Now we have a place to trade all markets. Let's get into it. Now, as a full-time trader, why did I start looking at stocks? And the realistic truth about it is crypto has always been a place where I've made tons of money, right? But ultimately, there's a lot of times that crypto gets really difficult and I end up giving so much money back to the market. And there's times where the market's just not in a good tradable place. And what this creates ultimately is for me to force trades, for me to be impatient and to give back a bunch of gains. And what that does mentally for me is it really puts me in a downhill momentum because now I'm filled with regret of money that I've given back. I end up thinking that I'm not great at trading anymore. I'm trying to change things all the time, but ultimately, the market's just not ready for trades. And that's why for me, the big light bulb moments was you're a trader. You need to move where the money is. And what you'll tend to notice is when crypto is going down, another industry can be going up. When that industry is going down, another industry could be going up. So the key here is to move where the money is actually at. Now let's speak about why that was difficult in the past. For me, I'm a very simple person. Now all of a sudden I must split my money everywhere. I must use all these different platforms. And that for me sounded quite difficult. And that's why I stuck to one industry. And the problem with one industry trading is you got to realize that there's times you shouldn't be trading and there's times you should be trading. And if you can have the strong discipline to stick to that method, then amazing. But I'm a person that's not. I'm a person that's chasing a financial goal. I'm a person that wants to build accounts, which then means that, hey, you got to learn to move on. You got to learn to shift and move your way through. And that's why I'm looking for something simple. And why I'm speaking about Bybit specifically today is because now I have one place, one dashboard, and one area where I can move around my money very easily, very quickly, as well as trading with USDT, which is big for me. But ultimately, I now have one place to do all of my trading. And this excited me because we've removed the complication of things and we've made it super simple. And at the same point, trading is trading. Every skill that you may have learned, let's say just in crypto alone, it's very similar to trading another industry. You just have to know the volatility difference, right? As you go to higher market cap markets, they move a little bit slower, but there's cool tools that you can use to trade with more size to make just as much money in any market. So now we're sitting with a product that we can finally do everything together, and that's why I'm excited to show you guys this. So now let's jump onto Bybit and let me show you guys around. Now, if you don't have a Bybit account, there's two links below in the description. The one is a Bybit account. Now, if you click that link and sign up on that link specifically, you will see there's a second link below that, and that link is to my community. I have a free community, and the only way you get in is by using an exchange link. This means that it does not cost you anything, but ultimately you get access to a very powerful community, a community that's filled with myself as well as many different traders. And this ultimately puts you into the environment of traders, and it's the perfect place to be if you want to take trading seriously. So once you've clicked on the link and open an account, or you have an existing account, you open up your Bybit and you get to this page over here, which is your main entry page once you've signed in. Then you can see that if I normally want to trade crypto, I can come to the section and I can trade the crypto side, right? But as you scroll down, you will see the explore section over here. And under that explore section, you will see this TradFi section, and you can click on it. And once you've clicked on the TradFi section, you now get to where you can trade all these things. Now guys, let's quickly speak about this TradFi section. Now, this TradFi section is actually its own separate wallet, which means that in the rest of exchange, you've got all the crypto stuff going on, but then here is its own wallet, which means that any money that you move over to here is purely for this trading. Now, the big important thing to understand the difference between trading, let's say, leverage on crypto and now trading the TradFi section is that whatever money you put into this account is at risk, which means that when you're placing trades, you're actually putting the amount of money into the account that you're willing to risk on the trades. Because one thing that you'll soon learn is you can trade with a lot of size, which means it's a slight different mindset where previously I'm going to put in 1,000, only trade with 100. You're rather going to just put the 100 into this account and trade with that. And yes, there's a way to put stop losses in, okay, okay? But ultimately, you got to remember that any money that's sitting in this account, right? If trades go against you, it will take from that money, which means you need to use the amount that you put into this account as your stop loss, as your kind of risk. And above that, I'll also teach you guys how to put a stop loss on that. But it's very important to not put a ton of cash into this, to not put any important cash in this, right? Because if you do so, you are putting that money at risk. Now, the pro side to that is by putting in a little bit of money, you can build incredibly large sizes. And with trading these type of markets, they are a lot more respectful when it comes to the volatility. Crypto is very volatile, but as you go into these markets, they have way more money into it, which means the wicks are a little bit more scarce, which means that levels get respected a lot more, and the moves are a lot smaller, which actually can become a lot easier to trade. As actual trading and finding entries and exits actually very easy. It's the mental part that's really difficult. The holding yourself together, the rules. But if you trade slightly slower, but you trade with size, it actually gets a little bit easier. Now, just before we jump onto the platform, there's two examples that I want to show you guys in this video. We're going to be trading gold and we're going to be trading oil. There's a slight different change because you're trading with lots, and lot sounds a little bit complicated. When I sat, I was like, what is a lot? But I'm going to simplify you in the process. But gold and oil are going to be the two assets that I want to speak about and actually open trades in front of your eyes. But just before we do that, let's show you around. So as you click into the platform, you get to this point. Very similar to a normal exchange. You have your chart, you have your tools on the left, you have your time frames. So now let's get to the top left-hand side. This is where you're going to choose the asset that you want to trade. So as you come down over here, you can now see that there's multiple options. I can trade metals, I can trade stocks, I can trade the Dow Jones, right? All the different industries there. I can trade Forex, I can trade commodities. All of this now becomes available from your Bybit platform, which is amazing, right? But now let's go in specific, and I'm going to choose the token that I want to trade, right? So firstly, you can also choose different pairings, right? Gold to euros, gold to the Japanese yen, right? And for me, I always trade obviously with the dollars. So gold to US dollar, and I can click on this over here. It then gets me to the actual gold section, right? Then on the top side here, you'll see the high that the token was in the 24 hours, the low, the current change since the last opening. And then you have this important thing, contract size, which I'll speak about shortly. And then you have this market close. Now, again, guys, all these different industries, they have different times of market opening and close. This is a way that you can navigate for how long it's still open, or if it's closed, or if it's tradable right now. Then you get to the section of where you're going to actually trade, right? Now, this is quite simple, guys. You got the buy and the sell. Now, you see this little bar here. This is spread. Now, what this means that if you're going to market buy into the market right now, right, you're going to get in. This is what you're going to pay to get in, right? There's a spread when it comes per trade. So this number that's moving here is just giving you a value of what you're looking like to actually pay to get into the trades. Because again, something exciting that's coming up now is you can trade with a lot of size, but not a lot of capital. Then you get to the area here of actually opening up trades. So the market area, right, and the trigger area. So market is basically quick to get in and out. And again, because this industry is full with a lot more cash, you don't pay much fees at all, right? And your trades get in very quickly, very easily. So having an easy way to markets where crypto, when volatility and volume is low, you lose quite a bit of money by market execution. Where here, it's an incredible, powerful tool. Then you have trigger, which is your limit orders. I want to step away. I want to set a limit order for a buy or limit order for a short. I think it's going to play out later. I'm going to put it in. So if I'm busy, it can still open and trigger the trade. And then you also have the very simple thing of putting a stop loss and take profit in before you open the actual trade. So again, just to clarify, you can put a stop loss. But in case you forget to put a stop loss, remember that any money that you have in this account is at risk in the trade if it goes against you. So again, stop losses are important. But secondly, only putting money for that trade in this account is also very important. Now, just above that, this is where you're going to load in the capital. You see this plus over here? You can go send from your funding. You can send from your unified trading. There's two wallets inside of Bybit when it comes to the crypto side. And then you have the TradFi section. So wherever the capital is sitting, you can transfer it over with USDT, which I love, right? Transfer it over to your TradFi section, and then you'll see your capital arrive in this area. And as we scroll down, just to show you around quickly, this is where you'll see your free margin, right? How much you've put into the trade, total equity of your account and your balance, right? Your unrealized P&L, okay? And then on the left-hand side, this is where you'll navigate your position when they open. This will be your orders. Let's say a position has not opened yet and you want to see your orders, or you want to manage your stop loss and take profit points. Once you've completed trades, as you can see here, right, I basically took $200 to $370 yesterday playing around, as this is something that's very exciting for me at this point. This is where you'll find all your completed orders as well as canceled orders and your funding log over there too. Okay, so money's in, you've got a basic understanding of how the platform works. Now it's time to show you guys how to actually execute a trade. So now let's get ready to place a trade. So the first thing again, select gold here, because gold's an example that I'm going to use. And as you can see on the right-hand side, it has this 500x next to it. This does mean that positions you can open here can be leveraged. Now, you don't calculate your leverage because there's a big difference from trading gold and trading crypto. The main thing is the unit that you actually trade in. So usually in crypto, I can put the amount of dollars, the amount of leverage, and I can open the position, right? And that will give me the position size that I'm looking for. Where here, you don't work with the dollar specifically, you work with something called lots. And when it comes to gold specifically, you see this number over here, 100 ounces of gold is equal to 1 lot. Now, you don't have to trade 1 lot specifically. You can trade up to 0.01 of a lot, which means that you can open sizes of increments of lots. You don't have to trade an entire lot, but it's important to understand that this is how your brain needs to think when it comes to opening and how much do you want to open, how much do you want to use. If it's 100 ounces per lot, which basically means that 0.01 of a lot is 1 ounce of gold. And the price of that, right, is this price over here. So 0.01 is $4,688. And again, this will obviously change, which means that if you choose 0.01 and you want to open a long or a short, the position size that you're going to open is $4,600. And that is a minimum that you can do specifically on gold. As you change to silver or change to other things, you can do smaller amounts. But to trade gold specifically, that is the minimum amount. Now, that doesn't mean you have to put in $4,000, right? It means that your $100 needs to be leveraged up to match that price. So by having $100 and then putting in 0.01 lot, it will open you a $4,600 position size. So now we've got a basic understanding of the lots, right? Now let's speak about the leverage. Now guys, the leverage is automatically set. So if you see the top left-hand side here, this one's 500x, which means that it's already set at that point of 500x. Now the way this basically works is they're looking to fill the position size off of the margin that you have available. So if I put in 0.01 of a lot, basically I'm looking to buy up to $4,000 or $5,000 worth of this asset. And that's basically going to cost me around $9 to $10. So I'm putting in $9 to $10 to open up a $4,000 position. So end of the day, you are playing with the multiple leverage. This is calculated and it's the way it works over here. So the important thing to understand about this is you can use whatever money is in this account as your stop loss, right? Because again, you are trading with a lot more size than what you got, okay? But there's two ways here. The one is, okay, I have $1,000 that I want to trade today as an example, but I want to trade with $4,000 size. So usually in crypto, if I had that, I can go $1,000 and I can 4x on a leverage position. Where here, I can ask myself the question to say, okay, I want to trade with $4,000 size today. How much money do I want to risk on a trade? You say $100. Now, for $100, if I go put in 0.01 of a lot to buy, I can open up a $4,000 position. And the money that I have at risk is the money that I have in the account, right? So instead of me putting a stop loss, I can just say, okay, I want to risk $100, okay? And that's the size that I want to trade with. And what it will do is it will open the position with $10, but then the other $90 is to give you some room, some space to where your stop loss would ultimately be. Therefore, it's important to put the specific amount of money in the account that you want to trade with. So that's one way. The second way is putting a stop loss on the capital too, right? So you can put a secondary way of defense to say that, yes, I have $100 in the account and I want to trade at $4,000, which is amazing. But I also want to put a stop loss at $50. I want to have 2 tries, right, to get into the specific trade. You can do so too. So let me show you guys how this basically works. I have $370 right now, okay? I'm on a 1-minute chart. Let's find a quick trade, right? There we're breaking out. Okay, cool. I'm going to look to open up. So the first thing is I'm going to market execute. So again, 0.01, right, will open me $4,000 worth. If I go a little bit more, which I'm going to do, for the sake of the video, I'm going to go 0.2, right? Which means ultimately, this is going to use around $200 of my cash, but it's going to open me up a $90,000 position. Okay, so I've clicked the button now, and as you could see, I've now bought. Okay, here's my entry price. There's the current price. There's the unrealized P&L. Right? Am I winning or losing right now? Then it's the value of the trade. Okay, so as you could see, I basically put in $200. I'm trading at $93,000 in size. Okay, but what you can also see is the top left-hand side. The other money that I still have left in here is used as collateral, right? You can see it is shifting and moving up here too, which means that if price goes down to a certain some point now, it starts to take away that full 200. It will start tapping into this cash over here. It's important to put what you only need here. Now let's actually put a stop loss in. The position's open now. I got a bottom trend, right? And I put a stop loss in here, right? Which is 4,690. So let's put it in. Well, 4,689, okay? There's my loss. I'm gonna risk $40 on the trade, okay, as a stop loss. Or I can just leave the whole collateral in and it gives me space to what we need. So it's all about if you wanna trade multiple times with that capital, or you're gonna use that capital fully as your stop loss, okay? But I can put that in. Now, the next thing is, let's quickly drag and see where my take profit's gonna be is 4,698. 4,698. But I will make $139 profit off my 200 bucks. So now I have a risk of $40 and 139. Again, a risk to reward is very important, right? Make sure whatever you're risking, your reward is a lot bigger, okay? But there we go. Now I have a stop loss in. If I want to edit anything, I can click on here, change my stop, change my take profits. Here's my value. And realistically, if I open up another trade, so let's say trade goes up and I want to take another buy, it will open me up a separate position over here, okay? So remember, when you're putting in the lots, it is going to give you the price that you're looking for. And again, off of that price, it's going to choose the amount of capital to use of yours times the leverage to get to that position. And the rest of the collateral here is to help you give you space to where you're basically going to lose the position, right? Or basically get stopped out. So the higher you go here with the capital you got, obviously the tighter the stop loss will be, right? For me, it is a no-brainer that I always put stop losses in, right? Then I know my risk completely. And I know that, okay, out of my 200 bucks, like now I'm risking $40. And the cool thing is you don't pay much fees on this. When it gets hit, you actually lose around $40. Where in the crypto side, if you say $40, you lose $60, right? It's crazy how it basically works. And again, I don't have to just long. If I did want to short, right, I can short in this section over here. The same way that I took a long is the exact same way that I can short by clicking this button over here. I can do the exact same. So it's all about your sizing and what you're paying attention to. It will give you the value that you're looking at. $200, I've built 90,000 in size and I only have $40 at risk. Crazy. Now guys, just before we jump onto oil, one thing that's also amazing about this as well is you have something called smart liquidation. So if you don't put a stop loss in, right, and price goes to a certain point where it closes your position, you only lose 50%. It only liquidates you for 50%, where crypto it liquidates you for 100%. So ultimately through this now, they do have that mechanism that if you don't put a stop loss in and you do get liquidated, you get 50% liquidation, which gives you another chance to go again. But again, for me, stop losses are super vital. Now let's go take a trade on oil. I have a gold position open, right? Now let's go to oil. So I'm gonna type in oil here, right? As it comes up here, looking to trade Brent crude oil. Here we go. Okay, now, as you can see, this one over here, this one says contract size 1,000. So the way this basically works is one lot is equal to 1,000 barrels of oil. So again, you don't have to trade an entire lot, but ultimately you can trade up to 0.01 of a lot. So 0.01 is basically the minimum that you can enter, right? And 0.01 of a lot is basically 10 barrels of oil. And as you can see that this is the price per barrel, which is basically saying that, hey, 10 barrels is the minimum that you can open here at a value of $108. So basically $1,090 is the minimum position size that you can use to open up a trade here. This doesn't mean how much money you need to put in. That's the size. So let's look at it. Let's look at taking a possible trade here. Let me quickly analyze and see where we're at. If there's anything to trade here. Coming into a bounce zone here. Okay, we're coming into a bounce zone. So I'm gonna take a cheeky little trade here. Nice little long. Okay, so again, I'm looking to open 0.1 is $10,000 position size, right? So if I click on this, stop loss, I can already do this before. Let's quickly look at where I put a stop loss. Okay, it's basically 108.250, 108.25. Right, $10 risk, okay? And I'm gonna open a $10,000 position, okay? Click on that. All right, I made a small mistake there. Make sure you're in the buy section. I'm buying, right? Okay, so 10,000, 0.1 lots. Let's put in a TPNSL. So again, it'll be 108.25, right? Okay, now it's $14. So $14 risk. I'm trading with a $10,000 position size. Now it's set, everything is ready to go, and I now click buy. There is my position now open. Oh, my gold position's up 72 bucks. Amazing. $200, 72 up. Great. Okay. But now I'm long. So I'm open. I got my stop loss in. So it's very simple. You click this, it gets the amount for you, right? You decide how much of the amount you're happy with. If you want to do one full lot, it's going to be 100,000. There's a certain point that you will see that if the trade doesn't execute, you maybe don't have enough cash in, right? So these are things you'll slowly get used to. And guys, you get a lot of calculators that you can also see. So if you want to trade of any of the other stuff, you can search it on ChatGPT. You can find a way that if you want to trade any of these over here, you can just do the calculations. But what you will see is contract size will be telling you the amounts, right? And this will ultimately be telling you the sizes of positions. And I'm a person that position sizing is very easy to kind of understand, as well as how much money am I risking, right? How much am I playing with? How much am I risking? Now, another thing as well, guys, is if you're trading gold, so let's go back to the gold chart here, or oil, you have this information section. Now, this information section is quite important, right? Firstly, it shows you all the session times of when things are open, the trading hours, everything like that, right? And as you can see, there's no trading on weekends. Then the next thing is that you can see a whole bunch of information on the left here, right? You can see the minimum size is 0.01 lot. Right? 100 is the max size, right? The max leverage is already set at 500. Then you can also see that you do have these costs. So if you decide to hold trades for multiple days, just know that these costs change all depending on is more of the market long or short, right? If more people are buying than shorting right now, you're going to have a fee for being in the direction of where everyone's at. So if you're holding longs, this is what it can charge you on a 24-hour basis. But if you are short, right, and the whole market's long, it will actually pay you every 24 hours for being short, right? So this is something just to pay attention to. And that's why for me, I don't hold trades too long unless I'm super certain, because I am going to be paying a daily fee on this. And then what you can see here is a margin requirement. So if you decide to trade more size, this is how much of your collateral you have to put in to get to those sizes, right? So it's also a nice way just to kind of calculate there. So this is the information section. If you're confused about anything, right, this is where you can go find out more about that specific asset. And as you can see, we got stopped out of oil. So we're up on our gold position, right? But let's see how much we lost on oil. We lost $12. And it's crazy. My stop loss actually said $14. So I lost less than my stop loss. First time in history. That's amazing. So guys, that's it. There's two basic views I've showed you guys today. I've showed you oil, I showed you gold, showed you how to open them up, how to work out lots, your position sizes, how to put stop losses, how to navigate the entire section, as well as understanding, put money in here that you are risking, as well as putting money in this account is at risk, right? So use that as, oh, this is how much I want to spend as my risk today. That can be the money that you can use to trade with, because you can trade with so much more size than what you got. And you always have a stop loss as a backup as well. But the amazing thing here is you can now trade crypto and you can trade all of this stuff all in one single place, and you can trade with USDT. So for me, this is a game changer. It's exciting. And that's why I brought this video to you guys today. So do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you, if it taught you anything, smash the like button, comment below the next tutorials you would like to see me do. Remember, there's a link below if you want to open up a Bybit account, as well as a free community that you can join. And I will see you guys all on the next video. Lots of love.